Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Financial Times for the latest in the PWM series of wealthtech roundtables. We've invited several leading consultants today from New York, Boston and Zurich, together with two leading private bankers from Europe to discuss the current state of the private banking technology market and to plot a future roadmap for the industry's digitalisation journey. If we can first go round the table and introduce ourselves.
I'm Mohammed Syed. I work at Coutts. I am Head of Global Markets and Investments.
Victor Allende from CaixaBank, Head of Private Banking and Premier Banking.
My name is Alois Pirker. I'm based in Boston, working for IT Group, heading up the wealth management research.
My name is April Rudin. I'm the founder of the Rudin Group, financial services marketing firm.
I'm Urs Bolt, founder of bolt.now, advising regtechs, wealthtechs and fintechs.
Now, our first chapter, we're looking at rising to the digitalisation challenge. Urs Bolt, you have many years of experience as a private banker at those two great institutions in Zurich, Credit Suisse and UBS. What is driving digitalisation today?
It's mostly driven by costs to reduce, optimize the operations, and also in the, let's say, client experience, but it's not, in my view, as radical as I would expect. So it's mostly driven by cost and shareholder value.
April, is this why the bank CEOs are so reluctant to discuss digitalisation? Because for them it's just a cost-cutting exercise, as Urs points out. I mean, we've got the third industrial revolution going on. Surely they should be proud of their initiatives in digitalisation.
They should be proud, but unfortunately financial services, particularly banking, are laggards. They have so many different silos that one department, one silo, one business line doesn't know what's happening in the next business line. And that's where the too big to fail has really come in, and that's what these banks are struggling with. It's just not so easy to slim themselves down and become as agile as Silicon Valley firms and other digital firms.
We see some very interesting initiatives, but they very often one-offs. And I think the tricky thing, as Urs pointed out, is to take the organization with you on the ride, and that's very hard because KPIs are very often structured around maximizing your current business and being very silo-driven, as we said before. The outcome that we're looking for, though, is an innovation that goes across the firm and really pushing the firm and the business model, quite frankly, to a new level. And that is hard. It's not just the technology implementation. The firms and the people themselves have to be more agile in terms of the way they do their jobs.
You just don't change your bank because you have a huge digital program. You change your bank because you introduce the changes into your DNA and your culture. And that is something you have to do on a long term. It is not something you do from one day to another.
I disagree with what Urs said about cost cutting. So, in private banking, digitization is not a cost cutting exercise. And it's certainly not for us because we start fundamentally with our clients. How do they want to engage with us? What options do we give them? And how is the marketplace moving for our clients? Not so much can we cut. So we have two lenses on so-called digitization. One is our internal processes. Can we automate them? Can we make them simpler so that our relationship facing people have more time to deepen the relationship as opposed to less time doing a lot of the paperwork? So that's one aspect of digitization. The other is what the client sees, which is how easy are we making it in terms of channels for them to engage with us, because it's a private bank, it's a very personalized service. So it's an option, which is for simple transactions, they do want a digital interface, but for complex stuff, they want a face-to-face conversation.
Private banking has thought about client relationship and thought about client experience, where many other banks haven't really thought about client experience. They've thought about operations. And so I think that's what digitization brings us, is the ability to get away from that one-size-fits-all model, but be able to deliver a different client experience regardless of your generation.